So today we're going to discuss in this video the DNA replication. So welcome aboard. So this is our second season, I believe, for the Gen Bio recording. And for those students that failed to attend our face-to-face session, don't worry anymore because I'm going to record all of the lecture that we've had in face-to-face. So this marks our first synchronous or online recorded lecture in Gen Bio 2, also known as the topic DNA replication. So these are the things that we need to talk about when we talk about DNA replication. So in essence, now we have to realize that DNA is very essential because this is the backbone of life. And when we do cell replication in mitosis, it is important for us to realize also that our cell also replicate and multiply. So in this discussion for today, we're going to discuss how does the DNA replicate in molecular level or in chemistry perspective. So by principle, no, we have to realize that the basic principle is based on the pairing of a template strand. So in our Gen Bio 1, I have taught you that the base pairing for DNA is adenine is paired with thymine and cytosine is paired with guanine. So this is the story, in DNA. But in RNA, different story happens. Why? Because adenine is paired with uracil. Since the two strands of the DNA are complementary, each strand acts a template for building a new strand in replication. In DNA replication, the parent molecule unwinds and the two new daughter strands are built based on the base pairing rules. So if we're going to look at this one, in picture A, we have a parental molecule. And at the end of the whole process, from the separation in picture B and the formation of new strand in picture C, we have showcase, or we can see that a parental molecule, or there are two type of strand that has been formed. They are identical in nature and they came from two molecule. One of which is from parental molecule and another from a newly synthesized strand from the DNA. So this is what we call a semi-conservative model. This was proposed by Watson and Crick. Uh, Watson and Crick's semi-conservative model of replication predicts that when a double helix replicates, each daughter molecule will have one old strand derived from conserved or from the parent molecule and one from newly made strand. So as you can see in the picture A, this showcase a semi-conservative replication that has been proposed by Watson and Crick. So there are three steps that are involved in the whole DNA replication process, namely the initiation, elongation, and termination. So for us to be able to understand the whole process, there are proteins and enzymes that are involved, and in each steps that I have mentioned earlier, the initiation, elongation, and termination, there will be different proteins, no? But for initiation, I want you to realize the prime movers as we refer to it because we have this protein and flash in our screen are the different function. So based on our observation, initiation is the first step in the DNA replication. Now replication begins at the location on a double helix to which certain initiator proteins bind and trigger the unwinding. So if we're going to look at the image, no, before DNA replication begins or commences, it is a stable double helix strand. But with the help of our first uh, enzyme known as helicase, it unwinds and unzip the DNA or parental double helix and it forms a replication fork. So as you can see, nakakita naman na kayo ng fork, no? At yung tsura ng fork, no? If we're going to look at the replication fork, it just like a DNA that is unwound or that is open. So that is the first step in the initiation. We have a protein called helicase that again unwinds or unzip the parental double helix at the replication fork. Okay, forming a replication fork in the process. So next one, as you can see, we also have the SSBP, also referred to as single strand binding proteins. So this protein binds and stabilizes the unwound or open DNA for it to be ready on the next step, which is the elongation. So you are maybe wondering, Sir Mark, why do we need to use this kind of protein? Since DNA is unwound or open, there are tendency that there are molecules or other nucleotides that might be attached to it. But SSBP stabilizes the unwound DNA, no? So, para hindi dumikit yung mga unwanted substance na hindi naman kailangan sa replication. Again, SSBP or single strand binding protein used to stabilize the unwound or unzip DNA. Next on the enzyme that we also have a topoisomerase. So topoisomerase relieves overwinding strain ahead of replication fork by breaking, swiveling, and rejoining the DNA strand. So as you can imagine, inside the nucleus, there are DNA, and the DNA is not, as we can see, or is not a straight long chain. Tama ba? Kagaya na nakita sa picture. You have to realize that DNA inside the nucleus are just like spaghetti, no? Na random at labo-labo. So what do we use for our DNA replication to uh, become na maayos? So we use topoisomerase, which used to relieve the overwinding strain ahead of replication fork. So that when helicase comes on the way of the DNA, ay maayos yung kanyang pag-unzip and pag-unwind. So these are the prime movers in the initiation. Again, initiation is the first step in the DNA replication. And there are different proteins, specifically 3, that plays a vital role in the initiation step of the DNA replication, namely the helicase, which used to unzip and unwind the DNA double helix and form a replication fork. We also have SSBP or single strand binding protein that stabilizes the DNA that has been unzipped or unwind. And lastly, we have the topoisomerase that relieves overwinding strain ahead of replication forks by breaking, swiveling, and rejoining the DNA strand. So after initiation, we will now enter the next phase known as the. Before we proceed with that, let us first have an overview on how does prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell do perform their DNA replication. Found on the left side of the screen is what we call the replication of the prokaryotic cell known as bacteria. Now, in our example, we have E. coli as a bacteria, and as you can see, in the first part, no, the parental template strand is unwind or unzip by the helicase, and what comes after, it will form a replication fork. Bubble will also form, and then at the end of the whole process of the replication, there will be 2 daughter DNA molecule that has been formed in the E. coli or bacteria. On the other hand, we also have the replication of the eukaryotic cell. Wherein in this part, as you can see, there are bubbles that are formed in the process. No? Again, helicase works as just like a zipper that used to unwind or unzip the whole DNA template strand. In the microscopic view at the lower right part, we can see the bubbles that are formed within a long strand of the DNA. No? Kung wala tayong bubbles at hindi ito nag-replicate, it must be long strand lamang. No? But in our example, in our case, we can see a formulation of lots of bubbles because DNA is replicated. Going back, no, we have the initiation again, which is the first phase of the replication. Next one, we have the elongation. But if we're going to look at this example, this summarizes the initiation and the elongation phase as a whole. So first one, for example, topoisomerase relieves the supercoiling or the supercoiling of the DNA, and then helicase opens the DNA or unzip the DNA, and SSBP or single strand binding protein stabilizes the open DNA. So next in our list is the enzyme known as primase. This is an essential enzyme because this will be mentioned on the next part known as the elongation. So primase used to create an RNA primer that signifies the beginning of the elongation phase. So now let us begin on the elongation. A new DNA strand grows one base at a time. The existing strand is a template for a new strand. So as we have mentioned earlier, it is complementary in nature. No? So the elongation phase, we use an enzyme called DNA polymerase that controls the elongation. Now this used to give nucleotide base on the separate strand that we have. In elongation, I want you to realize that there are two types of strand that needs to be synthesized, namely the leading strand and the lagging strand. The leading strand is continuous in nature because it is in the position that is directed or towards the replication fork. So the giving of the nucleotide base is said to be continuous. On the other hand, we have the lagging strand. By the term itself, it is lagging, meaning the process of giving nucleotide base is discontinuous because you will be needing lots of RNA primer for the elongation phase to begin to commence. So along the way, in the lagging strand, there is this fragment that we call Okazaki fragment. Again, Okazaki fragment are the fragment that we use to form in the lagging strand because we have utilized or used lots of RNA primer. Okay? So again, in elongation, there are two steps that are involved, no? There are two strands rather that are involved, the leading strand and the lagging strand. Again, in leading, the adding of nucleotides are continuous, but in the lagging strand, the adding of the nucleotide are discontinuous. Again, let us go back to the different enzymes that are involved. We have the primase. Again, primase used to create an RNA primer. So RNA primer are the signal of the DNA polymerase to give or add nucleotide bases. Okay? So we have the RNA primer in the leading and also lagging strand. If we're going to look at this one, the leading and the lagging strand again differ on how they are synthesized. Again, in leading strand, as you can see at the top part, it is continuous, but on the lagging strand, it is said to be discontinuous. No? And again, Okazaki fragments are the one that are formed in the discontinuous replication or the lagging strand. Okay? This elongation is said to be an antiparallel elongation. The antiparallel structure of the double helix affects the replication because number one, the DNA polymerase add nucleotides only to the free 3' end of a growing strand. Therefore, a new DNA strand can be elongate only in the 5' to 3' direction, which requires a pre-existing strand. Along one template strand of DNA, the DNA polymerase synthesizes a leading strand continuously, moving toward the replication fork. And to elongate the other new strand, called the lagging strand, DNA polymerase must work in the direction away from the replication fork, just like what we saw on the picture earlier, just like this one. Okay? So lagging strand ay away from replication fork creating in Okazaki fragment, while the leading strand works in a continuous process because it moves towards the replication fork. Okay, so this is the most important enzyme that we have for the elongation phase. Earlier, we have mentioned the enzyme primase, which used to create an RNA primer. And the RNA primer signifies the DNA polymerase to begin or synthesize the elongation. So DNA polymerase is categorized into two, namely DNA polymerase 1 and DNA polymerase 3. But the primary function of DNA polymerase is to add nucleotide bases. So DNA polymerase 1 removes the RNA primer and DNA polymerase 3 add nucleotide base. Ulitin natin na the primary function of DNA polymerase 3 is to add nucleotide base and DNA polymerase 1 is to remove the RNA primer. So you might be asking, why do we need to remove the RNA primers? Again, we are synthesizing DNA. Therefore, all of the RNA that we can found and locate in the template strand or the one that is we are synthesizing rather needs to be removed because RNA are just temporary molecule. Okay? So we have to remove it with the help of DNA polymerase 1. Okay? So you can see in the picture, we can see the complementary stranding of the nitrogenous bases. So if we have adenine in here, the the hydrogen bonds connects it with the thymine, not two hydrogen bonds, while cytosine is connected with guanine by hydrogen bonds or three hydrogen bonds. So the process continues at up until we reach the terminal part or the last part of the DNA that we are synthesizing or replicating. Okay? So next one, we have the process of elongation in the lagging strand. So for us to be able to understand how does elongation happens in leading and lagging strand, we have to discuss in depth kung paano siya nangyari. But for the first one, let us focus on the lagging strand. So you can see in the image for the first one, the primase makes an RNA primer. The pink one is the primase and it used to create an RNA primer, yung color red one. DNA polymerase 3 makes Okazaki fragment 1. So as we have mentioned earlier, DNA polymerase 3 will bind to the RNA primer. It will start to give complementary base as we can see on the image. For the next one, DNA polymerase 3 will be detached on the DNA elongation because it reaches the final period. So when are we going to when are the time or when is the time wherein DNA polymerase 3 will be detached in the lagging strand when we have found another RNA primer? Hindi natin na mag-stop lang ang synthesizing or pag-a-add ng nucleotide base ng DNA polymerase 3 when it reaches the next RNA primer. Okay, so that is the case. Next one, after that, no, this is what we call the Okazaki fragment. Again, DNA polymerase 3 add nucleotide bases based on the complementary pairing, and this form an Okazaki fragment. For the next part in the lagging strand, no, fragment 2 is again primed. So ibig sabihin, after primase again creates an RNA, sorry, after primase create RNA primer, again, what happens after? No? The Okazaki fragment 2 is again formed with the help of DNA polymerase 3. So, dito na eksena yung next natin na DNA polymerase known as DNA polymerase 1 wherein DNA polymerase 1 will replace RNA primer with DNA. So at the latter part, DNA ligase will form bonds between the DNA fragment, no? And the lagging strand is complete and synthesized. So that is the whole process of the elongation in the lagging strand. On the other hand, in the leading strand, napakasimple, no? Because we only need RNA primer that is manufactured by primase, and also we need DNA polymerase 3. So in our first example, DNA polymerase 3 starts to synthesize the leading strand. And then what happens after? No, the synthesis continues or the elongation continues in the 5' to 3' direction. Because as you can see, dire-diretso lang yung pagbibigay ng nucleotide ni DNA polymerase 3. Until such time, we reach the last part of the process of DNA replication known as the termination part. So this is the whole process of synthesizing the lagging strand, no? Lagging strand, what can we see? The helicase unwinds the parental double helix. Molecule of single strand binding proteins stabilize the unwound template strand. The leading strand is synthesized continuously in the 5' to 3' direction by DNA polymerase. So nabibigay na ng complementary base or nitrogenous bases. On the other hand, in the lagging strand, the primase begins to synthesize RNA primer for the Okazaki fragment. Okay? So DNA polymerase 3 is completing and synthesizing of fragment. When it reaches an RNA primer on the next fragment, it will be detached and it will form an Okazaki fragment. No? The DNA polymerase 1 will remove the RNA primer that has been created by the primase, and it will be replaced by DNA polymerase by a complementary strand. And there will come a time that DNA ligase will join the 3' end of the fragment 2 to the 5' end of the fragment 1. So magiging connected na yung mga fragment that we have manufactured known as Okazaki fragment. Okay? So that is the whole process. So DNA replication occurs in bidirectional process, meaning the leading strand and lagging strand moves in an opposite direction. Again, the leading strand moves towards replication fork, while lagging strand moves away from the replication fork. Okay? So this is said to be an anti-parallel elongation. We have discussed it on the previous slides earlier. So there will come a time that we will reach the last part known as termination part. Two new double helicases have replaced the original helix. The last primer sequence must be removed from the end of the lagging strand. So there are enzymes that are also vital on how the termination happens. So enzymes snip off the telomere at the end of the replication fork, leading to the shorter strand after each cycle. Finally, enzyme called nucleases proofread the new double helix structure and remove mispaired bases. So now, let us first focus on the term telomere. If you are familiar with the telomere, no class, in genetics, if you're going to draw a chromosome, it looks like an X, tama ba? If you can just imagine. And then the latter part or the end part of the chromosome are known to be as telomere. There are this study that suggests that when we age, no, our telomere also shorten. This can also be linked on DNA replication. Why? Because as we do DNA replication ng napakaraming beses, we also age, no? Kaya there are tendencies wherein our metabolism also decreases, no? The production of melanin also decreases, production of collagen, and many more. So, habang lumilit yung telomere natin, tumatanda rin tayo in nature. At ibig sabihin lang nun, napakaraming beses na nag-replicate ng ating cell. Okay? So, going back to the termination, we have an enzyme known as nuclease. Okay? Nuclease used to proofread the double helix that we have manufactured so that we can prevent mutation in the process, no? Again, in the DNA replication, we have to manufacture two identical daughter cell or two identical uh, molecule of DNA. Therefore, kung ano yung nasa isa, dapat similar sa isa. And we want to prevent that, or we can only prevent that by proofreading the whole sequence of the DNA that we have synthesized with the help of nucleases that used to proofread. Okay? So, in the diagram, you can see that if there is a mismatch, a wrong letter, for example, and merong mga hindi na clue si DNA ligase, so ano mangyari? Nuclease will go to the site, and then what happens? It cuts and cleave it, and then DNA polymerase will give a complementary nucleotide to the wrong piece. So, DNA polymerase 3 will give complementary base, and again, DNA ligase will go to the site to seal the new DNA that has been proofread. So that is the whole process of the DNA replication. Again, if we're going to go back, we have three steps that are involved, namely the initiation, the elongation, and the termination. For the initiation phase, we have the following proteins. Helicase that used to unwind the parental double helix at the replication fork. We also use single that stabilizes the DNA, and the topoisomerase that relieves the winding or supercoiling of the DNA strand. That are the proteins and enzymes that are involved in the initiation. On the elongation, on the other hand, we have the primase that used to synthesize and create RNA primer that then will be used in the formation of Okazaki fragment. We also use DNA polymerase 3 and DNA polymerase 1. DNA polymerase 3 used to add nucleotide on the complementary template strand, and the DNA polymerase 1 used to remove the RNA nucleotides that has been manufactured by the primase, no? Yung mga RNA primer. Also, we have in that termination part or the last part, the nuclease that used to proofread the one that we have synthesized. And for the last one, we have the DNA ligase that join the fragment that we have synthesized in the leading strand and the lagging strand. Okay? So for summary, this is the video. So again, this marks the end of our discussion. I hope you were able to understand our session for today. So these are the parent strand, and also we have the daughter strand that we have manufactured. So at the end of the day, in the DNA replication, we have two identical daughter strand came or similar with the parent strand. Okay, so this is the end of our session. So hopefully you were able to watch the video and you pass our assessment next meeting. That would be all. Thank you.